Hello guys, so welcome to your channel which is Sci Engineer. This is Sushant. So we have been uploading videos for your preparation of your first year engineering. So this particular video is related to your basic electrical engineering, in which we will be discussing on our RLC series circuit. So if you are new to the channel, you can just go and watch the other videos which we have uploaded for your DC circuit analysis and also for the fundamentals on AC circuits. So if you're new to the channel, you can just subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a notification of the uploads which we are doing. To get the regular updates, you need to subscribe to our channel, like our videos and share it with your friends so that it helps us make more videos like this in the coming future. Help yourself by helping us by sharing and liking the videos. Do write in the comment section how do you find these videos, and also write about what more videos you would like us to make on. So all the best guys for your preparation for the first year of engineering, first semester. I hope you are all doing well. So as we had discussed in the earlier video, we were discussing on the RL and the RC circuits. In this, we are going to have all the three combined in this particular circuit. So basically, we will be having a R, a L and a C in series with each other, and what is going to be the effect of this on the total circuit. So what you need to understand is there is going to be a flow of current because of the presence of these resistor, inductor and capacitor. So there will be, because of this flow of current, there will be some voltage drop across each of them. Let us name them as VR, that is the voltage drop across the resistor, VL as the voltage drop across the inductor, and VC as the voltage drop across the capacitor. Now you have to keep in mind that we are dealing with phasors over here. So basically the addition of these thing will be done in the phasor format. Phasor means they are basically vectors. So it's basically going to be the vector addition. So you need to write the equation for this. Let us say that V is the RMS value of the applied voltage and it is represented in the phasor format. This will be equal to your VR, that is also in phasor, plus VL, which is a phasor for your inductor voltage, and VC, which is a phasor for your capacitor voltage. So you have to keep in mind it's not basically a simple addition of the voltages, but the phasor addition of the voltages. So once you have understood this, what you need to understand now is that there will be a voltage drop VR, which can be given by the I into R. So I is nothing but the RMS value of the current which is flowing through it. If I want to find what is going to be VL, it is going to be simply I into XL. And about VC, it is going to be I into XC. Now these representation are the non-phasor representation. If I want to substitute in this equation, then you have to remember that we have to denote it by a phasor. Now this voltage V, that is a net voltage, will be given by I into Z, where Z is the impedance of the circuit. So when we are substituting in the phasor format, it will be written in this format, that is my V will be represented as I into Z bar, which is going to be the phasor for your impedance. This will be equal to VR, which is going to be the same, which is IR, plus your VL. It should be represented as a phasor. As we had already discussed, my XL is represented by JXL, so this will be represented by JIXL. And for your XC, it is represented as minus JXC, so that is why it will be minus JI into XC. So you can take the I common, so your impedance, that is your Z, will be given by R plus J common, XL minus XC. So this becomes your impedance formula, that is your phasor impedance formula. So if you want to represent this in the phasor diagram, there will be three different cases which has to be seen. The first case we will be discussing when we have our XL is greater than XC, or in short it is VL greater than VC. That is, the voltage drop across your inductor is going to be greater than your voltage drop across the capacitor. So let's see the phasor diagram for that condition. So we are discussing our first case, which is XL greater than XC, or it can be represented as VL is greater than VC. So when we are discussing on this, let us recollect what we had already learned. If we want to represent our phasor diagram, we start with the current. So we'll be denoting our current as a reference. So this is going to be my I bar. Then on this we'll be representing the different voltages. First, let us go to the voltage across the resistor. So we know that the resistor's voltage is going to be always in phase with the current. So that is why we'll be representing our voltage over here, which is VR bar. Next, going to our VL, that is the voltage across the so next going to the VL, which is voltage across the inductance. So we'll be having the inductance voltage, which will be always leading the current by 90 degrees. So this will be my VL bar. And going to our VC. The VC is the voltage across the capacitance. So it will be represented by the voltage which is going to be lagging the current by 90 degrees. Now in this you have to understand that my VL is going to be greater than VC. So we will be having the length of VC shorter than relatively VL. Now you can see that these two phasors are almost cancelling out each other. There is some part of VL which is remaining. So the net effect of these two will be a resultant voltage which is going to be V, let us say X, which is going to be basically the voltage across the net effect of these two. Now when we are representing our voltage, what we have to do is we have to draw the resultant of it. So this will be my resultant V voltage. So when you are analyzing the voltage triangle, from that you will be getting your impedance triangle. So from the impedance triangle you can get that this is going to be represented as, this is your R, this is your net X, which is basically nothing but XL minus XC, and this is going to be your Z. So whenever your voltage across the inductance is going to be predominant than the voltage across the capacitance, then the whole entire circuit will be behaving as such like it is a purely inductance circuit which is present. Going on to the next case, so the second case obviously will be when your XL is going to be less than XC. So when you are doing the analogous thing in this case, obviously we will be starting with our current, with the VR which is going to be in phase with the current. Then there will be a VL which is going to be leading the current, and my VC which is going to be lagging the current. Now it's opposite way, this VL is going to be lesser than VC, so that is why the net effect will be downwards, which is going to be given by Vx. This resultant, if we draw it, we are going to get it in this way. So you can see that your voltage, the effective voltage across the entire circuit, is going to be lagging the current by a degree of 5. So if you draw the impedance triangle for this, the impedance triangle will be given by, this is my R, this will be my XC minus XL, and this is going to be the resultant Z. So whenever you are having your VL is less than VC or XL is less than XC, then that becomes your condition that your circuit will be behaving as such it is having a capacitor only in that. So whenever you are having such condition, then the voltage will be lagging the current. So in this case we will be getting the condition that my power factor will be always a leading power factor whenever you are having a capacitor. While in this case, whenever you are having the inductance as the predominant, then you will be having the power factor which is going to be lagging. Now going to the third case, in which we'll be having both of them equal to each other. That means that the voltage across the inductance will be equal to the voltage across the capacitor. So coming to the last case, which is your VL is equal to VC or XL is equal to XC. So when we are starting to draw the phasor diagram, we will be obviously starting with the current. We will be having our VR on this. We will be having our VL and our VC. Now what you need to observe here is that both of them are equal in nature. That means that they will be basically cancelling each other. So your net voltage will be lying, that is the resultant voltage will be lying on your VR only. That means that your V, that is the net voltage in the particular circuit, voltage across the circuit, is going to be nothing but your voltage across the resistor. So what we are getting from this is, we are getting our voltage in this particular circuit is equal to the voltage drop across the resistor. Now this circuit, that is this condition which we have just stated is called as condition for your resonance. That means that whenever you are having XL is equal to XC, then there is a resonance which is occurring in the circuit. Now this particular condition which is occurring over here, which is basically your VL is equal to VC, is basically nothing but your resonance condition. Now as you might have recollected from your physics, resonance is nothing but a particular frequency at which a particular thing is going to be vibrating to its maximum value. So the same, almost the same equivalent thing is occurring in this. So whenever we are saying that the circuit is going to be in resonance, that means that it is going to deliver the maximum power which is being provided in that particular circuit. So the maximum amount of voltage drop will be occurring in this because there is going to be a maximum amount of current which is flowing. And as you can see that my Z, which is given by R plus J XL minus XC, since XL is equal to XC, my Z for this is going to be equal to just R. That means that this is going to be the least amount of impedance which is going to be provided by the circuit. So at resonance, there are many things which are occurring. The first thing which is occurring is my XL is equal to XC. The next thing is my impedance of the circuit is the lowest at this point, that is equal to your resistor of the circuit. And since the impedance is the lowest, my current is the maximum which is flowing in the circuit. And because of this, there is a resonance which is occurring in this circuit. Now if you want to calculate what is going to be the frequency at which the resonance is going to occur, you have to go back to this particular equation, which is XL is equal to XC. Now you know that XL is given by omega L and XC is given by 1 upon omega C. So omega is nothing but your 2 pi f. So from that you will be getting your f value. So you can take the omega that side. So that this becomes omega square is equal to 1 upon LC. So omega will be 1 upon root LC. This omega which I am getting is nothing but the angular frequency at the resonant condition. If we just substitute what is omega, it's nothing but 2 pi f. So I will be getting your f, that is your resonant frequency, is going to be 1 upon 2 pi root LC, which is given in hertz. So this is the frequency at which my resonance in a particular circuit which will be occurring. Now the other thing which you should understand is that whenever there is a resonance which is occurring in a circuit, the power factor in that circuit is going to be the maximum available. That means that it's going to be equal to unity. Since there is no phase difference between the current and the voltage which is present in the circuit, my phase difference is going to be equal to 0. And power factor is given by cos phi, where phi is the phase difference. So you're getting the power factor is equal to cos 0. That is why your power factor whenever resonance is occurring is always going to be 1. So there is a maximum power delivered in this particular circuit. The other thing which will be occurring during resonance is there is going to be a voltage magnification which will be occurring. Now what do you mean by voltage magnification? The voltage magnification is going to be occurring at your inductor and capacitor. The voltage drop across your inductor and capacitor, even though they are cancelling out each other, there will be a voltage magnification which will be occurring across them. That means that relatively their voltage will be more than that is applied. So those are the things which you should understand in your RLC circuit, and just as we discussed, this is a condition for your resonance. In the next video, we'll be discussing more on this particular topic, in which we'll be discussing on the bandwidth, how to calculate the bandwidth, and some sums which will be related on your RLC circuit. So till then, keep learning, keep watching, and happy learning. So this is Sushant signing off for today. Let us know in the comment section what more videos you would like us to make on, and do share and like our videos so that it helps us make more videos like this. We are associated with the Samartha Vidya Engineering Group Tuitions, which is basically for the engineering and the science level students who are preparing for their engineering and the engineering entrances. So if you want to know about us, you can just email us at samarthavidya@gmail.com, or you can visit our Facebook page, which is for Samartha Vidya. So till then, keep learning, keep watching, and happy learning. Bye.